Amy? 79 is very close, but still too high.
I know.
Kenneth?
78.
78 is exactly right. Okay, so that is 78% of our entire pizza. Okay, now, I want to ask you this. What gas do you think that, this is our air. This represents basically our air, our atmosphere. Do you guys have a guess at what gas that is? What do you think, Kenneth? Oxygen. Oxygen's a great guess. Why is it a great guess? Donovan? We breathe oxygen, right? And when I was in 4th grade, that's exactly what I would have said too. But it's not. It's actually nitrogen. Okay? So if you look on your little table here, there's nitrogen there. That represents the blue. Okay? I want you to write 78 in that little box there. Okay? On your table, go ahead and write 78 particles. Right there on that little box, right next to nitrogen. 78. Right here. Right there. Right here on this particle for nitrogen, right? 78. Okay, now, you guys remember week 1 when we had the periodic table and we built all those little things, the little molecules, okay? The reason there's so much nitrogen is because nitrogen doesn't like to bond with things, okay? So there's a lot of it in its natural state in our environment. Now remember, oxygen did like to bond with things, okay? Like, remember it bonded with something else and we call it H2O. Does anyone remember what H2O is?
Water.
Water, right? Do you remember what the H stood for? What gas that was, Kenneth?
Hydrogen.
That was hydrogen. How many hydrogen did we have?
2.
2, because it's H2. How many oxygen did we have?
1.
Just 1. H2O. So, okay. Now, has anyone heard of carbon dioxide?
Yes.
Okay. Has anyone ever put hydrogen peroxide on a cut, that stuff that bubbles up?
Yes.
Okay. Have you heard of iron oxide?
No. Yes.
Some people yes, some people no. How about this? Have you ever heard of rust?
Yes.
That's iron oxide, okay? So anytime you hear a substance that has an oxide after it, carbon dioxide, what would they do? Breathe out. That has oxygen attached to it, okay? So anything with oxide in it has oxygen molecules in it. So it likes to bond with things, okay? So let's look at that's our red section of our pizza here, okay? Now, we had 78% of our 100 taken up with nitrogen. How much do we have left here of the oxygen? 5%. It's more than 5%, Mateo.
22.
22% is so close, but it's too high. And 5%, this is our range, between 5 and 22. Kenneth? 21% is exactly right. Man, he's our man here on the, okay, 21%. So write that in the next little box down next to oxygen where it reads red on your little table here. Write 21. What I'd like you guys to do over here beside your pizza or pie chart, right over here, I want you to add, write an addition problem, 78 plus 21. Okay? Go ahead. Well, I want or just over here, anywhere on your paper, it's like it's scratched. Okay, hold on, we're gonna. Okay, everybody got it added up?
Yes.
Marco, how much is it? 99. Does everyone agree with Marco? 99? Okay. All right, now, if we had 99% of our pizza taken up now, what do you think that's what little sliver? How much do you think that guy is? Tariana. 1%. Okay, so go ahead and write that on your third little box down on your table. 1%. That's our other gases. This is our carbon dioxide, our helium, our all hydrogen, all these other gases. They just lump them all together into that 1%. Tony Hyde here. This is lesson number 2. Mine was over an introduction to atmospheric properties. My objective was to use differentiated instruction. My first objective was to discuss how use differentiated instruction for the lesson for individual and distinct groups of students. I had to, mainly for the whole group. This is a 5th grade science curriculum, and this was a 4th grade group, and they're economically disadvantaged school, and so
they were a little on the low side for for where they're at in fourth grade right now. On top of that, so I adjusted the way that I presented some of the information. I added some visual aids to try to help them, like for instance the water bottle and the cup to represent liquid having a specific size, and that seemed to work pretty well. I also used an actual globe instead of the PowerPoint like I normally do. I just normally cover it with the picture on the PowerPoint. I brought the globe out. There's some kids that have real short attention spans and have some behavioral issues. So having the globe out for them to look at, it seemed to keep them more engaged. This was something small, and I've noticed it with some of these, especially economically disadvantaged schools, that using the pizza instead of the pie chart, they seem to understand it better, I guess, because they're more familiar with pizza. So for some reason, just on their spatial awareness, they do a little better when I refer to it as pizza rather than pie. I also had them write down the addition problem, the 21 plus 78, in their books, which I don't normally do. Most of the students can just, they're just going to add it in their head using mental math. But I had them all write it down, and everyone gave them time so everyone could solve it. It, helped keep them engaged, and made sure everyone was paying attention and everyone, got the right answer. I also pointed out specific places on their table that they had to fill out. And walked around tables and pointed out to specific students that still weren't sure where they needed to write information down. And then on PowerPoints, also I made sure the PowerPoint was up with any writing they had to do because spelling was an issue with this group of students. So I made sure that was up and that they could read it and copy down what they needed to write down. My second objective was to discuss any challenges that arose related to differentiated instruction either during planning or implementation and how I handled those. Again, it's the biggest challenge, and it was all really no challenges arose during. It was mostly in the pre-planning, but that was how to meet the objectives of my lesson, but still keep this fourth grade engaged, as younger students, keep them engaged and learning something. And so that was challenging, but like I said, it was all on the front end in the planning. I really didn't have much trouble during the implementation. Nothing really arose then. My third objective, discuss how you will change your approach in future lessons based on what you learned from this teaching experience. My pacing, which I've always had issue with, and I'm getting better and better, but my pacing was a little slow. And I guess this was a problem that arose. This could go back to that things just took a little longer with the fourth grade in discussion. Everything's just a little bit slower. So I need to work on my pacing for a younger group like this. And also, I noticed that some of the students towards the end weren't quite as engaged, and so I think that maybe if I can get a little more hands-on stuff going for them, and or maybe just a few more, things they can write down to help keep them reined in and engaged in the lesson, I think that will definitely help me in the future, and I will be working on that. I hope you enjoyed my video. Thank you.